Welcome to the new tutorial on smart objects, and we're going to be looking at how to do a smart object through utilizing an image. And I'm just going to increase the size of this image so we can see it. We've got an image here of the Shark Rock Pier, and what we're going to want to do in this image is to get some texture into the pier. So we bring out the concrete and the wave in the background and the white water on the foreground we wish to lighten, and then the sky we wish to darken. And we're going to see if we can do that all just using smart objects. First things first, is going to click open the image and open up as a smart object. So we're going to right click and we're going to say open in Camera Raw. And we're just going to set the exposure initially just for the foreground. So we're going to increase the exposure a bit and bring some light into the foreground. As you can see, it's a bit well more lit. We're going to increase clarity, so we bring back some structure into this area around here. We're just going to tap a little bit onto the vibrancy, and you can see we've got some space on the histogram here with the blacks. So we're just going to increase the blacks a bit, and going to maybe sharpen this area a bit. So we zoom up to about 300%. The sharpening looks very close. We just want to bring that down because the radius for a highly detailed object is about 0.7. And we're going to hold the Alt key and hit the mask button. Now everything that is white is being sharpened, and as we drag that back, so the sharpening is only being used on the white areas. And now we can just see how the sharpening is. It's done well there. And we're just going to tap the luminosity so that we take away any noise, and we seem to have a much better image. And you can just increase that sharpening a bit around the edges, and now we'll go back to fit in view. And now it's set to the foreground. We're going to say open object, and now the object is going to open. And how we know that it's a smart object is that if you look in the layers palette when the image opens, over here it says that it is indeed a smart object, and you can tell by where the little hand tool is here that I'm moving that indicates it's a smart object. Now we right click the image and we say a new smart object via copy. This allows us to create a new layer utilizing new settings on a Camera Raw image. So we will double click on the thumbnail and the image will open in Camera Raw. Now we can set it for the clouds. So we'll probably just drag it back a bit, darken it, and we might want to create a gradient tool just to darken the sky gradually, and we'll just apply a negative here. I don't want to really darken it too much. We just want to create a nice flow through there. We don't wish to sharpen in that area, and we don't wish clarity in that area, as it's a very soft area. And now we'll go back to the, as you can see, we've got a bit of an horizon issue here. So I'm just going to set the sharpening tool with the horizon and draw it above the cloud line. Now I'll go back to the basic tab, and I'll just increase my blacks a bit, darken the sky a bit further, and the contrast a bit, and take my brightness off just a tad. And there we go. That's the before, that's the after. Sky looks good. Click OK. And now we have created a second layer. So the layer set for the clouds looks like such. The layer set for the foreground looks like such. And now we're going to say, right click again, and we're going to say new layer, new smart object file copy. And while we go back here, I'm just going to double click on the name and write here Shore. Enter. Double click on the name again, write Sky. Enter. And double click on the top one and write Pier. Enter. Now this allows me to keep tabs on which layer is which. Now for this we really need to just focus on the pier, so we're going to increase the exposure once again. Might just taper back on those blacks a bit this time, and definitely increase the brightness and get some contrast into there. And we wish to do some serious sharpening here, so we're going to really increase that amount of sharpening. And we're just really looking at just watching the pier on this one. I think we already is down a tad, and holding down the Alt key we're going to see what the masking is doing. We can actually increase the mask a bit there, not quite so much, but so it covers a lot of the pier. So what we're doing, we're just going to zoom in here and see how the pier is looking. The texture is starting to definitely look up. We might take the noise off that, so we can have a lot of noise on there, and the color noise off as well. And go back to the basic tab, just run through our tabs again. Everything right, so we might increase the blacks, drop, and we'll click OK. And now we've got 3 images. So we're going to turn off the pier image, and we're going to put a mask, and holding down the Alt key we're going to put a black mask onto the sky layer, and now everything shines through. We're going to grab the gradient brush, we're going to ask for a gradient, we're going to make sure our foreground and background is set to black and white, so we hit the shortcut D, the D tool to set the D for default, to set the black and the white, and then we wish the top of the sky to be a graduated white mask, so that the sky layer works on top. But before we go any further, we're just going to click that on. We're going to grab our tools here. I'm going to do the straightening now, so that when I do run the graduated mask from here on in, they do work very well with the horizon line. I'm just going to say straighten. This will allow us to straighten all 3 of the layers that we've made. Takes a while longer because you're working with Smart Object to do the straightening. So come through now, and I'm just going to have a look at the. It looks like with some nice straight horizons there. And now we're going to go back to the sky layer, make sure the mask is active by the white bounding box. We're going to once again grab our gradient tool, and we're going to run the gradient from here, and we're going to hold the shift key down. If you run a gradient, you see it can move around quite a bit, but if you hold down the shift key, you'll find that the gradient stays in a perpendicular way. And we just let go, and now we will see that indeed the before image, that's without the new sky, that's with the new sky. We've got a nice decent blend going in through there, and we might just actually ask that to graduate a wee bit more. So we're going to hold down the shift key again, and there we go. It's a much better blend. Now we're going to go onto the pier, and necessary to first just select the pier. So we're just going to do a quick selection of the pier, and then from this selection we'll move on to selecting it a lot better. We're hoping that utilizing the tools Photoshop has to offer and working with a very different color, that Photoshop will be able to pick up most of the pier as opposed to the rest of the tonalities in the image. Color range, I'm going to click on the pier, and not much happened there. We see that it needs there to be added, and now the pier is starting to come through pretty well. We're going to increase that slowly, and so far we're looking good. I'm going to say OK, and it's going to apply a mask to that image. There we go, that was it. That was our start image for the foreground, and we did the sky with the graduated layer, and then we did the pier with the mask done through the select color range feature. And I'm just going to hit Control Alt Shift E, make a snapshot layer on top just to show you the full difference. That's the start image. That's the finished image, and that is all done in Photoshop. If you do look here, you'll see that there's an anomaly that's come through here when we did the layer with the mask in the select color range area. So what we do here is we grab the brush tool, make sure that the mask is selected, and we wish to remove this, so we make sure that our foreground is black color, and we just get the right size, and we can just paint it out and make sure that your overlay is set to normal. These are all 100%, and we can just paint it out and blend it in a lot better, and it'll take away that anomaly and make it a lot smoother. And these finite little details one must always check when one is doing one's image, so that we can raise our image to a much better level of art that we're wishing to produce for our customers and clients. This front section, because this was actually set in the very first layer that we did, I'm going to remove most of it. Just increase my brush size and just go out a bit so I can do more of it in a quicker space. And now let's get to the back here, see if there's any more anomalies. This chromatic aberration I'm going to show you now how to remove, and that's round about correct. Okay, now it's going to taper back, and if we see that we wish to alter that, we can just lower the opacity a bit, make it blend in a little bit more. And now I'll take that snapshot layer and throw it away and make a new snapshot layer. Control Alt Shift E, and I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to go back and select the color range tool again. I'm going to look for a very specific color here. I'm looking for that blue. I'm going to see how much of that blue it can find. It's finding quite a bit of it there. I'm going to say OK. Now I'm going to take that into a hue saturation adjustment layer, and I'm just going to desaturate it, and hopefully that removes that area. Just to go back and see what it did there, I'll just go back to the layer, which is hiding somewhere in this mess, and turn it on. That is the blue, and that's out the blue. Better. So, Control Alt Shift E, let's see what we managed to perform. That's our start image. That's our finished image. Good job. We do trust you enjoyed the tutorial about smart objects. Until the next tutorial.